All right, good evening. It is 5:39, and we will go ahead and call this meeting to order. I now call this meeting of the Parks, Recreation, and Arts Commission to order. City Clerk, would you please conduct roll call?
Commissioner Barraza,
Present.
Commissioner Collier, Commissioner Dolan,
Here.
Commissioner Duran,
Present.
Commissioner Kucharski, absent. Commissioner Miller.
Here.
Commissioner Trio is absent. Vice Chair Ward
Present.
and Chair McCoy.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Commissioner Trelio is absent today. Is there a motion to excuse his absence?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Dolan. Is there a second? Thank you, Commissioner Miller. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Commissioner Kucharski is absent today. Can I get a motion to excuse her absence? Thank you, Commissioner Miller. There you go.
I move that we excuse her absence.
Thank you, Commissioner Kalia. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. We will now begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Will everyone please stand? Ready, salute. Thank you. We will now start with the approval of the agenda. City Clerk, are there any changes or proposed changes to the agenda?
No, there are not.
Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Dolan. Is there a second? Thank you, Commissioner Miller. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. This
I have to ask again. I know it's, I asked once before, but I wasn't here last time. Does it matter that I vote for it, one way or another? So I can recuse myself or just, I don't have to? Okay, I agree.
Thank you. We will now move on to the approval of minutes. Are there any changes or proposed changes to the minutes from October 27th, 2025?
No, there are not.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Thank you, Commissioner Miller. Is there a second?
Second.
You second? Oh, Commissioner Dolan. Thank you, Commissioner Dolan. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say no. This item is approved. We will now move on to member reports and comments. As a reminder, this is a time for commission members to report anything they feel important for the public or commission to know, but it's not a time for discussion. Commissioner Barraza, welcome back.
Thank you.
Did you enjoy your trip?
It was wonderful.
Good.
I now know what's like to go across the Panama Canal.
Okay. Did you bring us any souvenirs? No, I'm just playing. No, do you have any reports or comments for this commission?
Thank you. Madam Chair, I just wanted to make a comment about a discussion we had a while back. In fact, it was when the police department was presenting their budget the last time around about the importance of getting an update on how is public safety reports, activities occurring at our city parks. And that pertains to the fact that we created a Parks Ranger classification. We want to know how is it benefiting the safety and the well-being of the folks that attend parks. And the representative from the police department, he said he would be glad to produce statistics on what has happened, how are we doing the right thing in using how the Parks Ranger classification is being used. The other thing also pertains to a process that relates to the leasing of parks. And as you may recall, our park staff kindly gave us a very nice presentation a while back. More recently, I have heard from community organizations complaining about the process and how it would be very useful to allow the community to have input in making modifications to how that process is implemented and the responsibilities for maintaining public safety conditions at those parks when they rent the facilities. But I think there are some improvements that could happen when groups of teams, sports organizations get punished or penalized. And I think we need to have more of an opportunity to the community to have input. Sometimes our city government feels that they know best for our community, and from time to time it's very useful to hear and listen to what the community has to say. So the topic is kind of related because the central topic is public safety at the parks. And down the road, I'll make a formal request that this topic be listed on the agenda so that we can discuss it. And I understand that probably the staff is already working on something along those lines. And in closing, I also want to inform you that before I left on vacation, I met with one of our council members and our parks director to discuss that topic, because I'm hearing from the community, and I think it's important that we listen to folks in our neighborhoods. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I always want to call you Commissioner McKay by your first name, but it's Commissioner Duran. Do you have any member reports or comments?
Nothing for me, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Miller?
Nothing for me, please.
Thank you. Vice Chair Ward?
Yeah, thank you. I wanted to highlight a few arts and cultural events that are going on around the city for Measure Peace supported organizations. The first is a new exhibit just opened at the Armenian Museum, and that's a museum that is free and open to the public most weekdays. So I want to encourage commissioners and members of the public to take advantage of that. And then there's two impressive sculptural exhibits. The first one is at the Fresno Art Museum, and it's the Stone Sculptures of Zimbabwe, which is primarily, I believe, maybe entirely, the private collection of former Commissioner Mona Nyandaro Cummings. So if you haven't had a chance to see that, they are very impressive. And then over at Arte Americas, they have their Monumental Figures exhibit, which is located there, and they've also shared their very impressive outdoor sculptures with Fresno State and Fresno City College. So if any of those locations are convenient, you should go see them before they leave.
Thank you. Commissioner Collier?
Nothing at this time.
Commissioner Dolan?
No, nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I would like to personally invite everyone out this Saturday at the Fresno City College West Campus to hear my colleague from Tallahassee, Florida, Dr. Bruce Strobel, talk about his latest book that he wrote, By Any Dreams Necessary. And we're going to just have a really good, intimate, deep conversation. We're going to be talking about community solutions that empower community into activism, building power, providing tools and methods to take and empower and grow it, strategies for the future, forward-thinking strategies to meet the challenges of the 21st century, and data to organize with. Utilize data to tell a compelling narrative to move issues. This is a very exciting event. I promise you, you won't be disappointed, and I hope to see you guys all out. Lunch will be served from 11 a.m. to 12:30, and then the event will start at 1 o'clock promptly. So it's a free event. You don't have to pay anything. And I'm going to feed you some really good food and just come out and listen to this talented young man motivate us and help us in our advocacy work so we can push these issues through and really create one healthy Fresno. So I hope to see you guys all out. All right, so now we will move on to city administrations and park staff reports and comments. Does anyone from the administration have any reports or comments for the commission?
Not this evening, thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone from the park staff have any reports or comments for the commission?
Thank you, Chair. Just wanted to reiterate, this past October was a busy season in the Parks Department. We had over 30 different programs going on that were geared around trunk or treats, haunted house, and other family events. Just want to highlight Kids Fest. I don't know if I talked about this last meeting, but we had almost 2,500 folks come to that one event. In addition to our haunted house at Pinedale, we had about 500. The trunk or treat at El Dorado had about another 600. So again, thank you to you all here for promoting parks and what we do, and to the great staff in the Parks Department for delivering these services to our community. So just wanted to highlight that. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now move on to unscheduled communication. I have one card here from Melissa Padilla. There you go. Thank you, and you will have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Oh, great.
Yes.
Hi, thank you. Hello, my name is Melissa Padilla. I'm a proud constituent of District 4, a wrestling coach at Edison High School, secretary for the Central Valley Wrestling Association, wife of Fresno State wrestling alumnus, and mother of 4 who too currently wrestle. I'm here to talk about closing the wrestling gap, a call to invest in Fresno's youth. I'm so nervous. It's a great feeling. It's a good kind of nervous. It means I'm alive. It's the same feeling wrestlers get when they step onto a mat. The mix of nervousness, excitement, and determination. You see, wrestling is where fear becomes courage. Therefore, it's my privilege to speak to you tonight in the boldness, passion, and persistence that embodies the sport of wrestling. Good evening, commissioner members, Chair McCoy, Vice Ward, commissioners. I'm the founder of Consortium BY, a Fresno-based nonprofit dedicated to empowering youth through wrestling, education, and wellness, serving our city's most underserved communities. I'm here to speak about a gap so wide it represents more than just rankings. The California Interscholastic Federation, better known as CIF, is the largest high school athletic association in the United States. Over 850 schools in 10 California sections compete statewide. And unlike most sports, wrestling has one unified state championship where approximately 350 of those schools go on to compete for the prestigious state title. And our cousin, the city of Clovis, is ranked number 1 for boys and girls. As a matter of fact, Clovis is ranked 3 of the top 5 schools. Yet just a few streetlights away here in Fresno, we don't come close. Not the top 20, not the top 50, not even the top 100. And still, our kids are just as talented, just as hungry, and just as deserving. What they lack isn't ability, it's accessibility. Access to resources, facilities, and development opportunities. This isn't about competition, it's about equity. It's about giving Fresno's youth the same shot at excellence, the same chance to rise, grow, and thrive. You see, wrestling teaches more than takedowns and pins. It builds discipline, mental health, toughness, and character. It gives young people direction when this crazy world tells them they don't have any. Through Consortium BY, we're working to build a comprehensive sports and...
Thank you. I'm sorry, you only had 3 minutes. Do we have anyone online?
No, we do not.
Okay.
May I say something?
Yes.
Ms. Padilla, you so graciously gave us a packet of information. I'm very impressed with the scope of the work that you're doing with young children, and I wish you well.
And no one online, correct? All right, so I will now close unscheduled communication, and we will now move on to workshops. ID number 25-1504, workshop, overview of Parks Department fiscal year 2026 after school, recreation, and community service programs to inform fiscal year 2027 budget. Would someone from the Parks Department please begin the presentation? Hi, Shelby. You want your questions after?
Yes, I actually put that in here. So let's save the questions to the end. I'm Shelby McNabb. Looks like we're loading our presentation up. Here we go. I'm an assistant director in the Parks Department. Good to see you all on this side of the dais. As I do every year, I'm going to give a presentation overview of the current programs that we have in parks. That should help to inform any motions or any recommendations that you all would like to make this budget season. So we'll go through all of the slides, and then if you could just hang on to questions toward the end, and that way I'm able to answer and speak to it. All right, are we all loaded here? Perfect. All right, so in addition to offering open recreation and community events, the Parks Department currently offers 12 structured programs with a variety of activities for all ages. I'm going to give you an overview of all of these programs today, but please keep in mind that they're funded in part through Measure P. We also have a number of grant sources that fund the programs and enable us to do a lot of the work in the community. Measure P has created a more stable operating structure, which allows us to then bring in more resources as we seek grant funding to leverage what we have, and so we're very grateful that we're able to offer core programming and then seek additional funds from state, federal, and local sources to deliver these programs. So let's jump in. Action Sports is really an umbrella for a lot of our different programs. We currently get funding from the Office of Traffic Safety for bicycle and pedestrian safety education. That falls under this umbrella. We offer bike rodeos, which is really a skills course where youth, adults, and individuals of all abilities get to learn how to bike safely and learn some pedestrian safety skills as well. We provide them with helmets and reflectors and all kinds of gear to ensure that they're traveling safely by foot or by bike. We also include in this umbrella partnerships with schools where we provide education and workshops to students. In the past, we've provided crossing guard kits at schools to help support safe crossings and safe routes to schools. And then we have a number of BMX facilities where we do different programming, including the facility out at Woodward Park, where we've got a great group of engaged individuals who like to do races and practices there and hone their skills on that track. Our adaptive recreation program is a program that provides structured activities 5 days a week, serving over 700 people throughout the year. On a quarterly basis, we offer themed dances. You'll see that pictured here on the slide. Very fun place to be. It regularly draws over 200 participants to the dances. We've seen significant growth in attendance. And in addition to the daily structured programming, we also offer adaptive sports clinics. So that gives youth, maybe youth with autism, youth with other abilities, an opportunity to try out sports, build comfort, and a good segue into our youth sports program for them as they build that level of comfort. The adult sports program offers year-round recreational and competitive play for ages 18 and older. We offer leagues and tournaments, and you'll see on the slide there a number of different sports offered: softball, cricket, futsal, soccer, and basketball. We usually have the softball out at the recreational sports complex, a really great environment. Typically, we offer several seasons and have over 400 teams registered to participate in softball, as well as many registered to participate in basketball and so on. So a really great program, great way to bring the community together, and you'll see some pictures there from some of the events that we've had and some of the league play. Skip there. So our after-school programming, we offer this for ages 5 through 17 at 19 different locations throughout the city. We offer structured activities, after-school homework help, science activities, and it's all at no cost to parents. We run Monday through Friday from 1 to 6 p.m. and have different programs during the summer and winter break seasons. And last year, we offered over 40,000 snacks and meals to youth. So we really provide that essential nutrition for kids once they get out of school for the day, so that we're making sure that they go home full and not too hungry, and are able to participate in the after-school activities that we have. You'll see pictured in the slide, I think it's the second photo down, some of our science activities. I'll get to our science program next, but really great activities available to youth during that after-school program time. Our aquatics program offers a variety of services, including swim lessons, access to splash pads, recreational swimming, lifeguard training, and water aerobics for seniors. We've partnered with Fresno Unified the past few years to enter into a blue space agreement and activate high school pools. So we make those available for swim lessons and for recreational swimming citywide. That's been a great partnership. We look forward to it every year, and it really helps us to expand access to the community to that blue space. Last season, we hired 79 Fresno Unified students as lifeguards, so it's a great workforce development opportunity. There were over 22,000 recreational swim visits and over 2,000 swim lesson participants. So really great impact with that program, serving the community, make sure that they're swimming safely and have access to cool down during the hot summer months. Our Camp Fresno program offers programming for ages 7 through 17. We will take them up to a one-day trip or an overnight trip. At times, this is the first experience the youth are having with going out of town all the way up to Dinky Creek. I don't know if you've been there. It's beautiful. Highly recommend. But in addition to our youth programming, we also have cabin reservations and bunkhouses available as well that our shared service team reserves. We provide everything for the youth who are participating. We get a lot of grant funding in to help us do that. So if they show up for an overnight camp and they don't have a sleeping bag, we've got them covered. If they soil their shirt or don't have a change of clothes, we have that up there too. So it really reduces barriers. We just ask that you show up and we'll get you there, make sure you're outfitted, and have a great camping experience through Camp Fresno. Our neighborhood safety and community engagement program is focused on really a variety of programs. We administer funds out to other community-based organizations so they can work to reduce violence and intervene in violence. We also do late-night programming. You'll see the photo here is a picture from our event at Mosqueda. We had a soccer tournament that went until late in the evening, 11 midnight or so. We were able to fund that through grant funding that helped us to activate parks during late hours, during the summer when there tends to be less positive things that folks could be involved in, and so this really helps to bring the community together through our grant funding to activate those spaces in a positive way. They were really giving it their all during that event. We had a great time and thought that it was a great service to the community. In the last couple of years, this program, the ONCE program, has administered over $3 million out to other agencies as part of different grant initiatives. So in addition to delivering programming like the Fresno Summer Nights that you see pictured, we're also administering funds to enable that type of work through grants and other various sources. All right, our science program. This one is really exciting. You'll see a picture of the mobile science unit. So we're bringing science out to the community as well as offering science at the Highway City Community Center as well as at our centers citywide. We offer hands-on workshops, teen science nights, and mobile science workshops. We have over 50 hands-on exhibits. One that I saw recently was the volcano, where the kids got to build their own volcano, which is really fun. The Mobile Science Unit also brings basically a mobile science museum to community centers as well as schools and other community events. So if you ever see our Mobile Science Unit out, I would encourage you to walk through it and get the full experience. But we're really able to bring science out citywide, and so that way students can participate in our science club and have an opportunity, even if they can't make it out to the Highway City Community Center. Sorry, the sensor's flipping. All right. The next program is a senior program. Lots going on for our seniors. We offer fitness classes, dances, ceramics, arts and crafts. We also offer water aerobics during the summer, and that's very popular. We have offered senior hot meals for several years. In the last reporting period, we had around 20,000 meals that we had served to seniors. It's all free through a grant through FMAAA, which is the Fresno Madera Agency on Aging, for seniors that are 60 or older. We also this year, through a grant, have started to offer digital literacy classes. I have a slide on that next. But our programming is citywide. We offer meals at 6 locations. Those are identified there on the slide. And really a great group of seniors. If you follow us on social media, if you don't, please do. But if you do, you'll see a lot of the crafts and activities and dances and things that they're participating in. So Tech Easy is that digital literacy program. We were able to get a grant from the state, which allows us to do technology classes for seniors and for some of our adaptive recreation participants. They go through at least 8 hours of classes in a small classroom setting. You can see some of the photos there. And eligible households or individuals, it's based on income, are able to earn a free tablet. So the state has allowed us to purchase a tablet and enter into these classes, and it's been really, I think, helpful for folks so they can, look up resources and learn how to maybe schedule their doctor's appointments and get familiar with technology. So we don't do any of that for them, but we teach them so that they can navigate the technology and be engaged in the digital world. So this has been a really good program that we've been building out and is grant funded. I believe we have a 2-year term, but we've been working on that for the last few months. Our youth employment program, also another wonderful program. It offers youth mentorship, and there's an emphasis on employment readiness and life skill development. We offer both a summer employment program where they work on a variety of activities throughout the Parks Department, as well as longer-term assignments for cohorts of youth to help them get additional training in parks and recreation fields. Our program manager attends local job fairs and partners with career technical education educators to promote the workforce development opportunity. We had over 100 participants and over 12,000 hours of applied learning on the job throughout our centers. You can see a participant there pictured. All right. A few more programs, lots of great things happening. Our youth sports program provides opportunities for youth ages 3 to 15 to participate in recreational sports programs. We have futsal and cricket that were recently added to expand access. That was done in part thanks to the feedback from the community as well as PRAC in prior budget cycles. Typically, there are approximately 700 registrations for youth sports throughout the year, and you can see each of the sports that are offered there from our programs. The youth fee waiver, that is an initiative that PRAC had really led, which is still going strong. We have great participation in that, and it provides a cost reduction for low-income eligible households. So it brings the cost for registration down from $75 down to $20. And they apply once a year, and then that can be used for several sports, which we find that families tend to sign up for several sports, which is great that the kids get the opportunity to participate. In FY25, so far last year, 66% of youth on average use a fee waiver, and that's up from the year prior, which was around 61%, and so on. So we've seen increased participation in the program, and it's been a great way to reduce barriers for youth in joining sports. So as you're going into this budget motion time, I know we just finished the last budget and we're now into the new one, but I wanted to share some needs and opportunities with you all for consideration as you formulate your motions. The first need is investing in continued promotional efforts. We've taken steps to improve signage at the facilities, but more can be done to promote programs to ensure the community is aware of all the free resources available. For example, senior hot meals. Those are offered at no cost and provide vital nutrition in the community, helping the seniors find their way around parks and facilities with increased signage and improved promotion can help assist them with attending the program. I think now more than ever, access to free or affordable meals are really important. And so having signage on site, you'll see a photo there of some of the signage that we've added just so that folks know, like, this is a community center, you're welcome here, this is open. But we can do more for our seniors so that they can navigate to the meal sites and do more to promote those for them. Another need is related to continuing to seek training and certifications for staff. We'd like to continue investing in development of the team to best serve the community so that the team continues to grow their skills in service to the community. That could look like a variety of different trainings and certifications to ensure that they've got the latest information and are responding to all the different needs that the community has. A third item identified is the need for customer satisfaction surveys. So we regularly collect feedback from existing participants in many of our programs, but we'd like to make evaluation and customer feedback a routine practice in all programs to ensure that we can identify opportunities for improvement and take the opportunity to highlight success as well. So you'll see in our upcoming reporting, quotes from participants in some of our programs. We've done really rigorous evaluation thanks to some grant funding, but we'd like to do that across the board so that we're getting timely feedback about customer preferences, services, and things that we're doing really well and things that we can continue to improve. So that's one of the needs that we've identified. And finally, we need to begin to budget for planning updates. Per best practice, the Parks Master Plan should be updated around every 10 years. We anticipate the timeline to complete the update can be multiple years in length due to the scope and scale of the plan. It's a citywide plan. It requires a lot of community engagement, and so that is a plan that we'll need to start to set aside funding for. We also need to begin to set aside funding for the Cultural Arts Plan update. Per Measure P, an update is required every 5 years. The plan was adopted in 2023, so 5 years would be 2028. So in many cases, motioning to set aside funds towards these plans will help us get the ball rolling on that, since they would both be due in 2028. We don't have exact estimates for the costs yet for these needs and opportunities, but should any commissioner wish to make a motion, staff can evaluate potential costs associated with these items and provide that to you via trade memo or in a future meeting so that you can help to make informed motions on any of these needs. All right, so thank you for your time. I hope this is informational and gives you a good overview of what we've got going on. I am happy to take any questions that you might have about the programs, and we can get started.
Well, first of all, Shelby, thank you very much for the presentation and for your time putting it in front of us. It's very helpful, so I really appreciate that. Just some questions on the programs themselves. Do we have, or you must break it out in some way, number of participants in each program?
Yes, and you will see our annual report coming very soon. We had a goal to get it this summer. We were a little bit behind in that with everything else going on, but we will have that out to you, so you'll be able to see by program all of the unique participants. We have an earlier report on the website that has that, but yes, we track every single program. We track unique individuals and also the number of times people come, so impressions is what we refer to. When we have that report ready, I'll be presenting again very soon, and that will give you a sense of the number of people.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
And then perhaps it'll be in that later presentation, but just how is Parks Department evaluating the success of these programs? I mean, out of the ecosystem of programs that we could offer, we're offering a subset, because that's what we have to do. And I'm just curious as to how the Parks Department is evaluating those being the correct, the right offerings, the right return on investment for the programming costs that go in.
Yeah, so we are looking at that attendance data. So once Measure P was put into place and we started to roll out collection methods and things, we're looking at trends in participation. We're also looking at how is it promoted and has information gotten out about the program. And now we have enough data to start to look at year over year. It was really important to establish a baseline in attendance because prior to Measure P, there was tracking, but this provides more stable support for that endeavor. So now that we have a year-over-year baseline, that allows us to kind of look and see, is this trending up or down? What are some of the reasons? What's some of the customer feedback? And really try to evaluate, the success of the program. And then you will see changes in programs over time because, like I said, a lot of the programming is funded through grants in part. So we may, as we get, the new tech grant, you'll see that come online because we saw a need for that, whereas other things may conclude over time. So really, we are trying to gather the data in a systemic way so that we can make informed decisions and provide that out in the report so you all can review over time, what the participation looks like.
Great. I think that's very important, so I appreciate that. And then last, and I think this is more a clarifying question than anything else, when you were describing the neighborhood safety and community engagement programs, I believe you said that we award grants in that program. Is that correct?
So in that program, we have managed different grants that were awarded. So a few years ago, we awarded the Violence Intervention and Prevention Initiative. That was not Measure P funding.
Okay.
That was through general fund and I believe some ARPA dollars. So we administer grants out to other CBOs, so community-based organizations. There are appropriations that council makes during the budget process, and so they may put in, this amount in general fund, and so that program is the one that's going to be administering those grant awards in many cases. So it isn't Measure P necessarily, but part of the neighborhood safety and community engagement program is to help to administer some of those funds so that we are having an even broader reach than what we could do on our own.
And this may be a question for council, I'm not sure, but could this commission add money to those funds to make grants available?
Commissioner, what category would you be I think it's maybe relies on which category you're looking at.
I think we'd have to know more about what those are, but if we did get more detail and it did seem like something that could benefit from more funding, is that something that this commission could recommend?
I think we can work with the city attorney's office to figure out exactly maybe where you're seeking some of the dollars and get you a better answer.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it,
Will we be able to
Shelby.
have that answered before next meeting? Because that's the last meeting where we can make motions or recommendations.
Yeah, I think, Commissioner Dolan, if you had something you wanted to email over to us, we'd be happy to work with city attorney's office and get you that clarification before I almost said next week, but 2 weeks, right?
Yes.
Yes, before that 2-week meeting.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Shelby.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm punched up, so I have a couple of questions. Thank you, Shelby, for that wonderful presentation. When you talk about the Science Center at Highway City Community Center, and then I think you said citywide, has there been any plans or has the mobile science unit been into any of the community centers in West Fresno?
Yes, I'm so glad you asked that question. So we do like a mobile science tour, and we bring it around to every community center citywide. We also do a science club where we bring trained staff who bring activities to every center citywide. And as part of the field trips, I didn't mention those, but as part of the field trips that we do in science, we really looked at how could we ensure that there's access. And so we actually brought vans to several centers in South and Central Fresno to pick the kids up, to then take them on the field trip versus expecting them to come to us in Highway City. So we really, over the last year, really proud of the fact that we've been looking at ways, even beyond then, but just to make sure that there's going to be access to the community. Citywide, especially if they can't get to the science center. So we've really been shifting programming to ensure that we bring that resource.
Okay, and I have another question. With the Tech Easy, I see classes are twice a week for 4 weeks. Does a participant have to complete all 4 weeks in order for them to be considered for a free device?
So the device, they have to complete 8 hours total of instruction, and that's something that the funder requires. Mm-hmm. So I'll have to check with staff, but say somebody misses, we do have sessions going on a regular basis, so they wouldn't just have like one opportunity. They could come and, make up that hour. But we're required, it has to be 8 hours minimum.
And where are these classes held at? I think I might have missed that in your presentation if you...
I don't believe I mentioned, we recently had one at the Link, but I can get you the location. We've been trying to move them around so that seniors citywide have more access. So I'll get you the list of all of the sites we've had them at so far.
Do you have classes going on simultaneously, or you just have one class or one session at each community center?
Right now it's one community coordinator who is working on it, and so I can get you the full schedule, but she's able to teach one class at a time, and then she takes it to another location or completes that session and then goes to the next location.
And how has the attendance been with this?
I can get you those numbers as well. So again, we just stood this up recently, so I can get you the attendance numbers. At first, we had lower. We had only like a couple people sign up, and so we did additional promotion, and we were able to get more like 8 to 10 in a session. We can't have 40 people in a class at one time just because we need to do that hands-on instruction, so they are smaller class sizes. But we did set a goal, and I can get you that total number that we're aiming for in our grant. I believe it's several hundred folks. And so we've scheduled so that we can try to reach that many and make that many spots available.
And if we were to make a motion to add more administrators to be able to teach the classes going on simultaneously at all the community centers, would you be able to provide a dollar amount?
Yes, I could do that.
And the only reason why I'm asking is because as we go along, things are starting to be done on computers or laptops or our phones or our tablets. And I think it's very important for our seniors to be able to learn how to navigate so they will be able to schedule their doctor's appointments, schedule deliveries, and since a lot of since the loss of Rite Aid or CVS in West Fresno, we no longer have a pharmacy. So they will be able to schedule and refill their medicine online and possibly get it delivered to their home. So I'm looking at it through a different lens, that this is a really good program. And if we can hire more administrators and get more seniors, especially at the community centers where the hot meals are being served at, to participate, then they would be equipped to navigate and won't have to depend on someone.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can also look at the grant funds and see, what might be possible there and how we wrote the scope as far as staffing. So we can look at all of those things and get you some information to help inform your motions.
Chair McCoy, just a point of clarification. In that potential recommendation, you'd want to mirror what we're doing now. Would that include the tablets as well, or just the facilitators?
I would like a whole general cost, or the tablets and the facilitator, so I can make my recommendation worthy enough to hopefully get adopted by City Council.
Yeah, I think we can share what we've submitted in the grant with the amount of, recipients of the tablets and that criteria too. Thank you.
Yeah, and we still have another, I think, at least a year or so on the grant, so we'll evaluate it and get you some information.
And then lastly, with their senior meals that are being provided at the community centers, which community center has the most accessibility, like seniors accessing the hot meals?
With the most attendance? So typically, Tedsey and Mosqueda have the highest participation. And then other centers, they tend to have like certain days where there's higher participation. So we could get you more information about the meal participation at each of the sites if you'd like. But typically it's going to be Tedsey and Mosqueda have the most, the highest number of seniors attending. And
do you know if the seniors are being dropped off, or are they just coming in from that neighborhood?
We did do a survey about how they get to each of the locations, so I will have to pull that up. I don't have it memorized. There's lots of data, as you can imagine. But we did ask, and we can provide that information. We asked if they were getting dropped off, if they used Handy Ride, if they walked, if they drove, so we can get that to you.
That would be very helpful, since West Fresno only has Mariella Brown offering the senior meal, and I know that when Miss Yolanda Randles was at over lost my thought, West Fresno, what is it? Maxi Park, that they had a kitchen as well, so they did senior meals out of there. And since she has moved out of that location, I'm wondering if they still offer senior meals, and if so, what is the attendance? Because it's imperative that we are able to offer it pretty much in all community centers, especially during this time, since there is a lot of budget cuts that are happening, and there's a lot of families that are going without food, especially seniors. So I just want to know, like, the numbers of how they're being attended, and maybe we can drive up attendance.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was, again, one of the needs is just the promotion for seniors and doing more there. But we can get that data over to you.
Thank you. Those are all my questions. Anyone else?
Hi, thank you for the information. I had a question also about the Tech Easy program, and so I pulled up the really informative Facebook post about November's classes. And so my question was, for Mondays and Wednesdays, if it's 2 to 3 p.m., does someone attend every Tuesday and Wednesday, or is it just the 8 hours that you mentioned, or kind of what's the attendance like, for someone who would be attending? Is it a structured class, right?
Yeah, so it is a structured class. We've got really a PowerPoint that goes over different topics for each of the sessions. So the idea is that you would register and you'd sign up for that full session, and then there's different lessons on each of the days that cover different topics. And then throughout the session, we're going to be providing some support, like, okay, let's talk about documents, for example. Let me come over and make sure that you've pulled it up, because we have a class set of equipment that they can use to learn on. The idea is that they would be with us from start to finish, but again, if we run into the point where, oh, I missed a class, I need an hour, we can figure out a way to make that happen so that they're able to get the device if they're eligible based on their income and other things that the grant has set. I will gather some feedback from the seniors as we go through it as well. I know that our instructor, works with them and finds, like, what are some of your needs and what are some of the things, because everyone's questions are different and everyone's abilities are different. They may be more comfortable on a phone versus a computer and so forth. But the idea is that they go through all of that so they have at least a base level of understanding, and then they can use that knowledge that they gain to then have a tablet and use it for, their whatever they need to do. And it's really an innovative program. We sought the funding because we know that there's a need, and we wanted to make sure that seniors can continue to access what they need to in that digital environment. So, good question. Thank you.
Thank you. And so I think that may be part of the answer, but did this program exist before the grant here in the city, or did the grant start the program?
The grant initiated the program. So like I mentioned, Measure P provides I believe it's 8% in Category 3 for programs. And so we seek grant funding out for senior hot meals, for digital literacy. We regularly scour for opportunities and routinely bring items to council so that we can apply for funds. So the team spotted this opportunity. We moved on it, tried to work with the programs to see what would best serve our community, and then built the program. So we really started from no program, and then we're building it as we implement.
Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Does Measure P dollars go to, is that a matching grant?
So any match that we have in that case is like in kind. So we oftentimes will use, like, for example, our senior program manager, her time supervising the community coordinator who's implementing as match. So again, we're able to leverage Measure P's investment to then bring in more money.
Got you. Thank you.
I have a question really quick. I'm sorry. Is 2 to 3 the only time frame that this class is offered?
No, we've been offering it at different times. We have been trying to look at our long-term plan and what times are better attended and what sites have meals, so we could offer it maybe before or after the meal so that they can still participate. So we are still building our schedule for the next year or so. So if we see that there's better attendance in the afternoons versus the mornings or vice versa in many cases, then we're able to tailor when we offer it.
Has there been any consideration of offering an evening class? And the only reason why I'm asking is because Some grandparents are the caretakers of the kids in school while the parents are working, and availability won't be really available until after the parents are off of work. So an evening class would be ideal for them to be able to utilize this.
Yeah, we can definitely take that feedback back to the team and see if we can work that into our schedule. I think that's a great idea.
Thank you. And I think Commissioner, Vice Chair Ward was before you, or, yeah. Sorry. No, not you, Commissioner Barraza, and then I get you next, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
I'll
I
wait.
appreciate all the questions.
I have a quick question, I think. It's about the slide you have on the fiscal year 27 needs and opportunities, where you talked about kind of planning or thinking ahead for the plan updates that are both necessary in 28. I know there's been some budgeting or allocations kind of being made in anticipation of those plans for the 2027 fiscal year. With that said, are you looking for the commission to make budget recommendations to do additional things financially to support what's needed for those plan updates? Or can we get more information? I just want to make sure that there is enough funding so that the robust community engagement processes can take place.
It's that type of motion. But yeah, we can look at some potential information for you. I think, Aaron, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, and I think, last time we went through this round, we got a couple of proposals, we can look at that. And then, of course, the Parks Master Plan. Costs have skyrocketed since we probably did the last master plan. So if we can start building that budget now, so that when we do get to the point we are asking for the full, whatever the dollar amount may be. So if you had a recommendation you wanted to make, I know you asked about this last time, I let you know we were planning for it. What that dollar amount is right now, I don't have a specific dollar amount. With your background in arts, if you wanted to make a initial recommendation, we can definitely start with that, and if we need to increase or whatever we need to do with that number, we can definitely do that. So if you wanted to make a recommendation with X amount of dollars for the cultural arts plan, you definitely could start with that process.
I think when we were looking at some of the budget overview for 27 presented by your staff at the last meeting, it had some money in what looked to be an administrative category or a different category. Was that for plan updates, or was that something else?
So I believe category 6 is probably what you're referring to. There were some dollars in that, but to be honest with you, I think we're going to need some additional dollars than what's in category 6. Just based off of previous costs we've seen, and then just seeing what's in category 6, I think we're going to need to look at some other funding sources to kind of bridge that gap.
Okay, great. Since we have one more meeting where we can bring those recommendations, we'll try to get some updated information so we can make a meaningful recommendation.
Yeah, and Commissioner Ward, we'd be happy to work with you on that and kind of compare notes and what that number needs to look like.
That would be great. Thank you.
Commissioner Barraza.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Excuse me. When will we get a performance report on all the programs and activities that you cited? And I think it would be useful to have a comparison of the performance of the department after Measure P passed. In other words, having a base, a point of reference before Measure P, and then the changes or enhancements, improvements that have resulted because of the allocation of Measure P programs. In fact, I believe that's a requirement under the Measure P measure. So that's one question. Did you want to answer that? Or?
Yeah, so I have the FY24. We're finalizing all the final details so that we can bring that before you very shortly. And then we've been collecting all the data for FY25 annual report. So that will be brought before you. As far as reporting on pre-Measure P, that will take a little time to see what data was available to compare pre and post. So we will have to look and see what all's there so that we can do our best to show, maybe before Measure P, this was the senior participation versus after, but a lot of those records are on paper. And so I'll have to do a little bit of digging too.
So what's the date? I'm sorry, I'm a little bit hard of hearing. So what is the date when you're planning to complete the report?
We were looking at bringing it to a PrAC meeting this year for the FY24 report.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
Thank-
as far as the pre-post, that will take me some time to figure out how to compile data related to parks, back from 2020, I guess. The challenge is that during COVID, programming changed significantly, or it had to close. And so I'd have to go back to maybe 2019 or 2018 to try to give you a base report. I don't know if, Aaron, if you want to add.
And just to add to that, you've got to remember some of the centers we had were run by community-based organizations, so we may not have all that data to show you, here's what Mosqueda looked like, here's what this looked like. During the recession, a lot of community-based organizations stepped up to keep community centers open. So we may not have all the data that Ms. McNabb was referring to. So we'll have to go back and kind of scrub information. Some of the criteria may have changed. But yeah, we can definitely do that and work with you all on what that presentation needs to look like.
Thank you. The other question, you pointed out under needs and challenges, the need for updating the Parks Master Plan and the Cultural Arts Master Plan. When is that going to start again?
So the cultural arts plan per the ordinance is every 5 years. It needs to have been updated. So based on the time frame from adoption, we're looking at 2028 is when it needs to be adopted again or updated. So we would have to start that really in FY27. I would have to look at the exact month, but I know we just completed it, right? And we're just now getting grants out, but such is the nature of community planning. So we can look at more of a detailed timeline on that, but essentially we need to start setting money aside so that we can begin that work. And then the Parks Master Plan, we did the technical update, so that gives us some time to reflect, that Measure P was put into effect, but it'll be time to get started on that as well. So I've been working with the team to build a more detailed time frame. But that one can be probably 2 to 3 years at least in length because it involves an analysis of every single park in the city in detail and all those things.
I think the date you show in the report was 2018, and you didn't want to, when we did the update, you didn't list that as a revision or an update, which probably would allow you not to have to update it as soon as...
It was a technical amendment. So you all on the subcommittee and the department worked to update things so that we can acknowledge that Measure P passed. But as far as some of the priorities and goals that are in there, those didn't change. And so going back out to update that plan within that 10-year best practice allows us to respond to maybe new trends or other goals. You'll see it when we do our report, you'll see progress on the recommendations that are included in that plan. And thankfully, we made a lot of progress. And so it'll be time to add new recommendations and try to evolve that vision for the next 10 years.
And then my last question, Manuel I think it was Molinero, a former Parks Director, and you may not know him.
I've seen his name, yeah. Mm-hmm.
He came up with a wonderful life safety training program that brought in a lot of neighborhood kids to get trained. And because before, the community of color was not participating in those programs, and I think there was a wonderful enhancement that brought in a lot of folks from the community. The question is that program still being as successful as it was when it was first modified?
The junior lifeguard program?
Yeah, the lifeguard program.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So as we look at the data, we have seen a lot less participation. However, the reason for that most likely is that because we're hiring youth already at ages 15 and we have broad representation citywide, we have a lot more diverse lifeguard staff than we may have in the past. And so we're kind of a victim of our success. The team has done a great job in hiring and reaching out and working with schools, especially in Southwest Fresno and Southeast Fresno, to bring folks in. And so we were actually discussing that and looking at, maybe we need to do something to start to get middle school students engaged in that opportunity. So I will say that that's probably one of the programs that over time you start to look at, okay, did it fully fulfill? You know, we actually have a great pipeline now, and we've accomplished a lot. Is that really still the target, or do we need to target middle school, or do we need to adjust in other ways? And so I think it was a very successful program. I think it responded to a need, but I also will say that we have many, I think I mentioned over 70 high school employees this last round, and we've consistently been able to bring folks in. So that is a program to really look at. And it's not a huge cost. It's just part of our current aquatics operations. But we want to start to, evaluate how can we best serve the community and bring in even younger folks if we need to. But that's a good question. Thank you.
And I was just going to add to that, Commissioner. Most of the lifeguards that you see in and around, they get their start at 15, as Ms. McNabb mentioned. You'd be surprised on how many of my parks employees started as lifeguards. Many of them now are rec specs, many of them are supervisors, managers, and so forth. So they kind of got their start as a lifeguard. You hear of our service awards, you hear of an employee who looks like they're maybe 35 years old who have been here for 15 to 20 years, and that's why, they're able to start as a lifeguard and continue in the city structure here and in the Parks Department. So it's been great.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Collier, you have any questions? Thank you. Thank you, Shel.
That's it? All
Commissioner
right.
Miller, no questions, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, we will now move on to our next workshop, ID number 25-1516, workshop expanding access to arts and culture quarterly PRAC reporting for July 2025 through September 2025. Will someone from the Fresno Arts Council please begin the presentation?
Good evening. Lilia Gonzalez Chavez, Executive Director of the Fresno Arts Council. I have the report up on the slide. I will be brief. In July, we processed 195 projects and fiscally sponsored individuals and identified their eligibility for applying for EAC funds. We prepared the information for EAC review panels and then began the panel process. In August, we completed that process. We met with the PRAC ad hoc committee to review the recommendations of the panels and to provide a recommendation to the full PRAC. The PRAC ad hoc committee prepared those recommendations and recommended 134 applications to move forward, which represented 68.7% of total eligible applications. In September, all funding recommendations were sent to Parks and PRAC. Letters of intent to awardees were distributed to all prospective grantees. Appeals were received and investigated. Meetings with the subcommittee to discuss appeals were held. Presentation of PRAC subcommittee list of recommended grantees and appeals findings were tabled. And then instead in September, the PRAC meeting was held to hear community issues. And that was the first quarter activity for the Fresno Arts Council for the expanded access to arts and culture funding. I believe it's now important for the Commission to consider next steps. And I know that Commissioner Ward gave a presentation as chair of the subcommittee, but unless the subcommittee has been reconstituted, there in fact is no subcommittee. But it is important to establish one, and I would recommend that it be a standing committee. So that's an activity that needs to take place. Another issue that came through in the comments that were very robust was that it's important to consider the makeup of that subcommittee so that it is diverse. I think all of the subcommittee members thus far did an excellent job of trying to be inclusive and engaged, or consider all parts of our community, but that was an issue that was brought up. So as you move forward with that recommendation, that's important. I also am concerned with the cultural plan and appreciate that funding is being set aside. I do have a question, however, and that is it possible to set those funds aside and then carry them over to the next year? Good, because it will be more than just one cycle funding in order to have the robust process that we engaged in the first time, and then to complete it, because we ended up having to, we actually doubled up on the work because there was a consultant hired, and then the Arts Council ended up finishing it. So hopefully we won't go through that process this time. We can all be engaged at once. Okay. Any questions?
Thank you so much. Does any member of the commission have any questions or comments regarding this item?
You mentioned the subcommittee, cultural arts subcommittee. Is it no longer, or is it in parts, or what happened?
Because the subcommittee was identified as ad hoc.
Ad hoc.
When the activity ends, the subcommittee dissolved.
Okay, right after that. So, okay, so you got to recreate it and then make it a standing committee. That's the idea.
That's the recommendation.
Okay, thank you.
Parks Director Aguirre, can we get some information in regards of what would be the cost to have a standing committee?
Yep, I can revise the estimate I gave you all
Yes, please.
6 months ago or whatever that was. Happy to do so.
Yeah, so that way we can look at our options. Thank you.
Can you share some information about timing and process as the guidelines look to be updated?
Yeah, the guidelines were adopted for 5 years, so we really don't have to update them. Last year, however, we did make policy recommendations that were approved by the PRAC and then moved forward to the council. And that was less tedious than creating a whole new set of guidelines. I don't want to be premature because I think it's important for the PRAC subcommittee to meet and begin discussing next steps and possibilities, but it may be valuable to create some guidelines, maybe not dissolve the existing guidelines, but create new guidelines that would include other kinds of grants programs. Because as you listened to all of the comments, there were some gems there that would allow us to create some new opportunities that might be directed towards specific service providers. Thank you.
Madam,
Yes.
in terms of a timetable of what's coming up, when will the guidelines again be looked at as we do every time we start a new cycle of funding? So when will that happen? When will we be able to circulate at least maybe either the old version or whether the Arts Council makes suggestions to the commission to make sure that we have ample time for community organizations to provide their comments? Because unfortunately, the comments we were listening to, it was like there wasn't too much we could do because we had to follow the guidelines that were in place.
Right.
And I hope that we're able to have a draft available to the public so that we listen to the public on input. And one of the areas that comes to my mind that I think we're gonna, I as a commissioner had a concern was the appeal process, that this commission made a recommendation to the council. The council made some changes. Obviously, the council has the final word. I understand that, but that doesn't mean that we could not insist on something we think is right. Anyway, that's an editorial comment. And then the last question is, when will the actual application process start for the new cycle of funding?
Yeah, and until we get through this first process, because we are going to be very, very inclusive in taking these next steps. We are scheduling community meetings so that we can collect information from the broader arts community, because while we heard from a handful of people, there were 134 successful applications, and 134 people didn't come forward with suggestions and recommendations. So we want to make sure that we're not focusing on a minority of the population, but are focusing on all of the prospective applicants. So we're scheduling community meetings so that people can come and make recommendations for either issues related to the current guidelines that they would like to see changed, or possibly new programs that we might create new guidelines for. So all of that is in the works now, but until we have a PRAC subcommittee to first vet that information, I can't provide you with the next date.
So that would be my next question. And when will, and I don't know who can answer that, whether our chair of our subcommittee or staff, when will the subcommittee be recreated so that that process can start?
So when I do my next agenda setting meeting, I will be inquiring about that to see if I'm able to form that on our November 17th meeting.
So when was that?
So I have my...
Please get closer to the mic, because
Okay.
I cannot hear you.
And let me use my cheerleader voice for you. When I have my agenda setting meeting, which I believe will be next week, then I can inquire when can I assemble the subcommittee for the the cultural arts grant portion subcommittee. So then if I get the okay, I will be able to bring those members together and establish that committee on the November 17th meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Dr. Chavez, you mentioned community meetings, and I know you can't set a certain date right now, but how will you promote them? Because one of the complaints that we received was, I didn't know about it, or it came at the last minute and I wasn't able to go, and I was just wondering what kind of outreach is going to happen for these community meetings. And even, so much stuff comes at us in the email, and it's hard to keep track of everything. And I missed a couple of things that I had wanted to go to. that you had put on that workshop at City College. I missed that. I wanted to attend. So I was just wondering about just a suggestion on how we can do better outreach, or more outreach, I should say.
Sure. And actually, all of the information for the applicants goes through Submittable, and they are all made aware of that.
Okay.
So that's one issue. But this will be a broader outreach, and we're looking at scheduling those meetings for the last 2 weeks in November, and we will be promoting them very soon, and we'll share them with all of you so that you can reshare them, but primarily using electronic media.
Okay. So that's last 2 weeks in this November.
Yes.
You're going to be having them, and you'll put it in the email?
We'll put all the information out, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have any other questions in regards to this presentation? Thank you.
Thank you.
We will now move on to hearings. ID number 25-1505, actions pertaining to the Parks After School Recreation and Community Service, Parks Department Fiscal Year 2027 Budget Build as it relates to capital projects, after-school recreation and community service programs, and trails beautification and the San Joaquin River Parkway. Will someone from the Parks Department please begin the presentation? You know, you guys make me say a lot when I have to say that. Man.
Hello and good evening, Commissioners. Nice to see everyone again. I am Tu Zhang, Business Manager, Parks Department. I want to just give a special thank you to Assistant Director Shelby McNabb for delivering that very wonderful presentation. I can't promise or guarantee that my presentation is going to be as exciting or as colorful as hers, but I'll do my best to keep you guys engaged and informed. It's not working. Whoops. All right. Okay. So my presentation for tonight will consist of the following. I'll be providing a recap and or a review of our FY26 Measure P adopted budget. And fiscal year 2026, for your reference, it's July 1, 2025 to June 30, 2026. Once we cover the FY26 budget, we'll transition over to the FY27 budget bill timeline, where you'll see important dates and deadlines pertaining to our budget bill. And then we will take a look at the overall concept of a PRAC motion by examining a motion that was made in a prior fiscal year. Really, the purpose here is to just look at the typical language related to forming or framing a motion. And this is all really as an intent to serve as a reference for you all. And then last but not least, we will close the presentation with questions from the Commission. All right, so the following slide is a breakdown of our FY26 adopted Measure P budget by expenditure category. And by now, many of you are very well versed and familiar with this table. So I'm just going to go through it, do a pretty quick and brief overview of how to navigate this table. Looking at the top, we have the department broken down, and then immediately following that are expenditure categories within each department. So as you can see, under the Parks Department, Parks, we have expenditure categories in 1, 2, 3, 4, a little bit of appropriation in category 5, and then 6. And then the Department of Public Works and Public Utility has category 5. And then our capital projects development team, we have expenditure category 1 and 2 for soft cost delivery. So what's really important to note from this table is the revenue and the appropriation lines. So in looking at the revenue, we have our beginning balance, which represents our carryover from fiscal year 25. And tax represents our tax revenue projection from our consultant, HDL. And then we have interest in other revenue for a grand total of $90.9 million across all expenditure categories. And then moving on to appropriations, here's where we see exactly where fundings were appropriated for each category. For example, looking at parks operations accounts for a total of $23.4 million. And if you look across from left to right, you see the makeup of that $23 million. 10.3 is in Category 1 citywide, 8.6 in Category 1 highest need, 150-200 in Category 2 citywide, 90-900 in Category 2 highest need, 3.8 million in Category 3, and then 392,500 in Category 6. So as we navigate down the list, the operating Measure P budget for the Department of Public Works is 1.3 million, 1.4 million for public utilities, and again, these are from Category 5. Right underneath that, we have 1.9 million in Category 1 for our Park Ranger program, 99,200 from Category 6 in our Finance Department, and then 1.1 in Cultural Arts, and 47.9 million across all categories for capital projects, which accounts for a little bit over 50% of our overall Measure P appropriation. All right, so in the following slides, we will review our current budget bill timeline. So right now, we are currently at the November 3rd PRAC hearing. Last budget meeting, we reviewed the overall FY26 Measure P budget and also deliver some program highlights from our Department of Public Works, Utilities, and PD. That was really the first opportunity for you all as commissioners to make budget motions for fiscal year 27. And tonight, on November 3rd, you all heard from Assistant Director McNabb about some of the amazing work and accomplishments or highlights from parks. And tonight will also be another opportunity for you to make budget motions for FY27. And then we'll meet 2 weeks from now on November 17, and that will be the last opportunity for you to make a budget motion prior to our department budget bill and submission. You all will have another opportunity to make motions after the mayor presents, and I'll walk you guys through that timeline in a bit. All right, and then here are some important dates from that I want to just highlight in our budget timeline. So the next really big milestone for us as a department is December, and this is when Parks prepares our mid-year projections or estimates, and this will really determine our fiscal year 27 carryover. January, February is when Parks and other partner departments prepare budget recommendations to the mayor. This is when we work, where we build a budget and work on our FY27 budget. March is when we submit our proposed budget, which includes a recommendation for base budget, capital projects, and new requests. May is when the mayor presents the FY27 budget to City Council, which is typically towards the end of May, and then Parks will immediately follow that with I think it's a special meeting here in the council chamber with the commissions. And that's where you will have another opportunity to make or provide motions for us to include in the budget. And then immediately following that meeting, council will have council will have budget hearings and will meet with each department. And this typically occurs in early June. And then once they hear from each department, council will adopt or vote on the budget to approve the budget by June 30th. All right, so we have here just an example of the budget motion. And typically just the overall construction of a budget includes an amount, an identified amount. If an amount is not known, then we can, do a little bit more research and help you guys identify an amount, and then just providing a funding source as well. So this motion example, I think it was a motion that was made in FY24. The motion reads, motion that funding be provided not exceeding $100,000, and then identifying the department responsible for delivering the executing or delivering the work identified, not exceeding $100,000 for street improvements along Cesar Chavez Avenue between Maple Avenue and Chestnut. So, in a sense, it really sums up, the amount. What department is going to be responsible for carrying that, and also just providing some description as to what the motion is for. And that concludes the presentation, and we'll open up for any questions that you all may have.
Thank you, too, for that presentation. I will have to go out to the public first. So would any member of the public like to make a comment regarding this item? You will have up to 3 minutes. Anyone online?
No,
Okay.
there's not.
I will now close public comment. Does any member of the commission have any questions or comments regarding this item? Commissioner Barraza.
Madam Chair, as you recall, in prior years, and specifically last year, this commission made a series of recommendations, which most of them were not approved by the council. I wanted to propose, in the form of a motion, that those recommendations that have been approved by a majority of this commission for the year before, that we put it back on the list of recommendations unless those projects have been completed or some development has happened. I think that those projects, we as a commission identified them as needs, and I think they continue to be needs. And I would make a motion that we start with that list of projects that had been approved by this commission. And obviously, because we have 2 new commissioners, they may have other suggestions on, or even existing members of this commission. But at least I would propose that we start with what we have already discussed and agreed to propose to the council as a recommendation.
Can I chime in, Chair? I would, recommend we go a different way, just because there were a couple motions made last year that one weren't relevant to the Parks Department. There was a parcel that was asked to look at planning a new park. That's actually a housing parcel. So some of those didn't make it in for those specific technical reasons. So I recommend we go back and look at them and maybe get rid of the ones that don't pertain to maybe the Parks Department or to Measure P. We did a presentation last week, I think, with all those motions. We'd be happy to send those back and circulate them again for you all this week.
Okay. That sounds good.
Sounds good? Okay. Any other commissioners have any questions regarding this presentation? Go ahead, Vice Chair Ward.
Yeah, when I listened to the way that the City Council discussed some of the recommendations that were made by this commission, it seemed like one of the things that was causing issues for our recommendations not being successful is that they didn't really integrate into existing priorities and identified like project plans and schedules. So are there things that maybe we could be better informed about so that we're making recommendations that'll be more successful, or other things? I mean, we do get presentations about what is being updated and what's on schedules, but it's so far spread apart in time from when we make these budget recommendations that I think the things that people are bringing up at this series of meetings where we make the recommendations are just disconnected from what the City Council is like we've been working on this, or like your department's been working on this, and why are they coming out of left field, and what can we do maybe to make sure that we're kind of building on something so that it fits better?
I think as a commission, we have the right to make the recommendations that we want. It doesn't always have to line up with what the city council has in the queue for their projects in order for our recommendations to be received. I think that the recommendations that we have been making since this commission has been established has been made within the hearts of our commissioners and what they would like to see. And at the end of the day, the city council has the last say-so. So in order for us to make recommendations to line up with projects that they have in queue so we can feel good that our recommendations are being accepted, I don't think that's us being who we really are and serving on this commission. I think that the council needs to take in consideration of each recommendation that we make to them and try to pass them. It shouldn't have to line up with their agenda. That's just my opinion. And you can have the floor, Parks Director.
I was just going to mention on the capital component, we bring the capital overview to the commission. And in that, it kind of shows what's in design, what has money for construction, what's lacking construction funding, in the hopes of if that's something that's near and dear to you all and something you'd like to recommend, that you have the opportunity to do so, in addition to the programs as well as the other departments who have presented. So if there's another way to present that to you, I'll get you all the information. We definitely can. But that's kind of the intent behind, these multiple meetings that we have. And really just trying to show you what's been funded, what we're working towards. There's been a couple projects that I know we've presented that don't have construction funding that could be picked up if that's something that you all desire to do so. There's others that do have construction funding that are continuing to move. So that's our hope and that's our intent, is to give you all as much information. I know it's a lot to throw at you all in a 6-week span, more or less, but that's really the intent behind these meetings and the amount of information, and why I offered up early on in this process to meet. If you all had questions, would like to sit down, I think that was the first meeting we kicked off. I offered that up, and I have had a few commissioners reach out and be happy to work with anyone else who may have any questions or need some additional information before next 17th meeting.
Chair.
Yes.
Director Aguirre, I think it's a really good idea, as you point out, where Parks Department has shortfalls and where they think would be a good use of the commission's consideration, if not an actual recommendation, to be very explicit about that during, or perhaps there's a follow-up document that could come out with that highlighted, so that we as a body then have that, we can sort of collect that. And when it comes time to making these, we have that sort of running list of here's where Parks Department feels like they have fallen, or they have holes in the budget and need gaps that to be filled. I think that'd be really helpful for us to at least know about.
I think that would be helpful, but I do feel that each commissioner needs to be organic and needs to have recommend what they feel that their community needs that they represent on this commission. If we align ourselves with the projects that City Council has in the queue, then why are we a commission?
No, I don't disagree with you.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying I think that's helpful as well, but I think that we need to think about who we represent on this commission and make those recommendations according to what we hear in community.
Yeah, I think it's an and conversation, right?
Yes.
Madam Chair, I just want to tell you that I totally agree with you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Do we have any other questions in regards to this presentation? Thank you, too.
Of course.
Thank you.
All right, we will move on to our next hearing. ID number 25-1501, hearing to receive public input on expanded access to arts.
Sorry, did you want to open up any motions?
Oh, I forgot to do that. I just went on by it. No, nobody can make a motion tonight. They got to wait till the last day. They need to think about it. No, I'm just playing. Are there any commissioners that would like to make a budget recommendation motion? Commissioner Barraza, are you ready?
Well, yes, Madam Chair. There are 3 items. However, as we were told by staff that we would be getting a description of what those items were and to make sure that, and then they will have comments whether there's some work already underway. And it seems like the agenda or the schedule shows that we still have the opportunity to add on the 17th.
Yes, sir.
And my plan is to make motions at that time. I have some ideas already, but I'd like to see what we get from staff, at least to start the process.
Understood. Commissioner Duran.
I'm sorry, Chair. Can I just clarify something? So I think what I mentioned down here is I'd send you the previous recommendations by PRAC, what's been in the budget and what's not made it into the budget. And that's it, correct?
Yes,
That's
and
what
you're going to give us the description, because some of the things I like to be reminded of is what was the budgeted request. I mean, I don't remember if it was 100,000, 75,000. So it's a refresher.
Sure.
And you gave us that at one of the previous presentations.
We did, and we can simplify it so you don't have to go through every slide in there. So what we'll do is we'll revive the slide deck that shows all the recommendations that were made, which ones were incorporated into the budget and which ones weren't.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
And in light of that, I'm willing to wait for the 17th.
Thank you. Commissioner Duran.
Nothing for tonight, but I'll reach out to staff about questions ahead of next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Miller? Nothing tonight. Vice Chair Ward?
I wanted to request that staff come back with a recommendation on the amount for the cultural plan funding set aside for fiscal year 2027.
And just understand, Commissioner, that's probably going to be an estimate. It won't be exact, but we'll throw kind of our best estimate at it and see if we're in the ballpark.
Thank you.
Commissioner Collier?
I'm going to wait for some more information and do a little reading before I make my decisions, and I'm glad we have the opportunity to make recommendations at the next meeting. So I'm going to wait, like Mr. Barraza. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Dolan?
I'm working with Parks and constituents to formulate motions for next week.
Thank you.
Or 2 weeks from now, excuse me.
Thank you. Now I can move on, correct? Okay. Moving on to hearing, ID number 25-1501, hearing to receive public input on expanded access to arts and culture grant programming. Would any member of the public like to make a comment regarding this item? You will have up to 3 minutes for comment. I don't see anyone in chamber. Is there anyone online?
No.
I will now close public comment. Does any member of the commission have any questions or comments regarding this item? We will now move on to hearing ID number 25-1502, hearing to receive public input on allocations related to Measure P, updates to the Parks Master Plan and Cultural Arts Plan and annual Parks Department budget and capital improvement plans. Would any member of the public like to make a comment regarding this item? You will have up to 3 minutes. And I do have a card. Can Melissa Padilla please come up?
Thank you. I've really enjoyed this. Like I was saying earlier, I'd like to elevate wrestling in the city of Fresno, and I believe I'm really searching for a partnership with Measure P with the support from the commission. We've made a budget of around $800,000 for 4 years. We'd like to stay in District 4. Councilmember Maxwell has really helped me with my nonprofit and get it going. I've worked with the Department of Economics, and I've also spoken with Francisco Partida in regards to building something near the airport. And if he said I can get funding from Parks and Rec, he'd be more than happy to facilitate something near the airport. You see, wrestling is a great investment because I don't know if you guys know this, but we have 5 state tournaments at the DoubleTree downtown at the Sound Arena. And USA Wrestling, Cal USA Wrestling, is the largest but they bring the most generating revenue, that's what I'm here to say, for downtown Fresno. And they've been committed to the Sound Arena for the last 25 years. So everybody from the state of California comes to the Sound Arena 5 times a year and brings great revenue to downtown. Starting in March, I don't know if anybody's come to one of those tournaments. We have about 2,000 kids come. And one kid doesn't just wrestle, families wrestle. Their grandpa comes, their grandma comes, their little baby sister, they're all there at that event. It's a huge family event. It's a huge thing. I'd like to invite you guys all to come check it out in March. I pass out awards if you guys want to help do that, shake some hands of the champions. But like I said, this is a great investment for the city to invest and bridge that gap for the community of wrestling. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have anyone online?
No, we do not.
Okay, I will now close public comment. Does any member of the commission have any questions or comments regarding this item? You will have up to 3 minutes. No, I'm just playing.
I just have a question. When is your tournament in March at the convention center? Do you have a date yet?
I do. I believe it's March 15th is our first one, and our last one is in June. It's a 3-day event. Friday, everybody comes for weigh-ins. Huge parking. Parking is a thing down there. Sometimes you have to pay up to $25 to park for a 10-minute weigh-in. We're the largest, Cal USA Wrestling is the largest generated funding for downtown.
Thank you.
I think you said families, so I'm assuming you have competition for children?
Yes.
And then how do they qualify to participate?
You can come to the state tournament. You just have to have a USA Wrestling membership. And I'm the secretary for the Central Valley Association. I believe there's 23 associations for USA Wrestling in California. You can also have small clubs. I'd like to build our small clubs here in Fresno. But we have what is called the Judy Ryder Free Kids Card Program. And as the secretary for CVWA, we allot those for candidates. So if you know anybody ages 5 to 14 who want to wrestle, we'd love to connect them with a gym where they can wrestle. I like to send kids to free community-based clubs. There's about 1 in Fresno that's free right now. And like I said, Council Member Maxwell, he's my council member, and he's really gotten me involved in the city. And so when they designed the free sports kids waiver, I called him up right away, and I was like, where's wrestling? We would like representation of wrestling in the city of Fresno.
I happen to have a granddaughter that she is a wrestler.
I love it. Girl wrestling is the largest growing sport for girls.
After soccer.
And the Central Valley has a huge representation of girls. Mm-hmm. I love girl wrestlers. They're so tenacious. And then once they get off that mat, they're braiding each other's hair and playing and having a sweet time. So, do you know where she wrestles? Where does she wrestle? I probably know her.
Thank you for the invitation.
And they give the boys a run for their money on that mat, too. I love it. I enjoy watching the matches. Do we have any other questions in regards to this or comments in regards to this speaker? No. All righty. It is 7:23. And I would like to adjourn the meeting in love and memory, like I always do, of Dr. Francina Puda, who is deeply missed, as well as I would like to end the meeting with a quote by the late Dr. James Aldrich, who was our first Black city manager. It's mandatory for all citizens to try to better their community, and I think we're doing our best here on this commission. Thank you and good night.